All right, everyone, welcome back. Today I have a very special guest. Today with me, I have the founder of MCS with me. Say hi to everyone.
Hey, how are you doing, everyone? My name's Matthias, and I'm the creator of the MCS project.
Yeah, so this project has been making a lot of noise lately, and you guys probably already know this, but I am an advisor for the project. I'm helping out Matthias. I think this kid is an absolute stud. I think he's one of the most underrated devs in ICP right now. But I think that's, only going to be for a short period of time because this guy, he really gets it. He understands how to market. He understands how to dev really well. I mean, he really has the sauce. But, and today in this video, in this interview, whatever you want to call it, I don't have any questions written down, but we're just going to get to know Matthias a little bit better and, what's going on with MCS. So, Matthias, your ICP journey, how did you first initially find ICP and get into it?
Yeah, good question. So I got into ICP around November 2022. What got me into ICP originally was I was trading on like Uniswap, 1inch, stuff like that. And I eventually heard about ICP just through word of mouth of someone talking about gasless transactions. And when I first heard about that, I was like a little bit intrigued about like DeFi without gas because at the time it was the previous bull run around like 2021, I would say. A little bit after that, when I was selling off some Ethereum tokens, that I came across IC Lighthouse. And when I first tried ICP, I was honestly blown away by how fast and just how efficient everything ran. And I instantly like fell in love with it. Basically, I started joining like a bunch of discords, started learning more about the project. I'm like, what is this? Like, why is nobody talking about this? And through that, I started to get really involved in development and how it works in general. I was aware that Ethereum up until that point, you needed to host your front end on like Web 2 while having a smart contract on Web 3, but that can sometimes cause issues with communicating with Web 2 and Web 3 without running into issues with like domains or it getting taken down or like DDoS, stuff like that. And I thought this is it. Like, this is the project. Like, that's going to actually bring Web 3 to like the mainstream. So after I'd say about a year, it's been over a year at this point. Who am I kidding? I just finally just want to take the first leap into developing like in ICP and really bring the community together and dive right in.
Yeah, man. I remember when I first found ICP, I saw it. I opened my, it was in 2021 when it first got listed, number three on CoinMarketCap. I was like, what the fuck is this thing? And then, I bought a little bit in 2021. And the first thing that sparked my initial, interest in ICP was really when they announced that a Bitcoin integration was going to come. And that's what really like turned my eye. I was like, what the hell was this thing? What is really going on here? So a lot of cool stuff. But now I want to talk about, so Matthias is obviously like by trade a developer and everything. He's also, in my opinion, the best dev I've ever met who can market super well. Like he can do marketing really well. He's got some great memes and everything. He really gets it. But he's a dev by trade. So talk to the audience or speak to the audience about like when you started developing, like how you got into developing and all that stuff. Like why do you do this,
Yeah, good question. So I got into developing, I'd say, really seriously around 2020, like right before like COVID like hit the world, basically. Originally, what it was to do was to cheat in some games that I was playing. I used to just spend the time like playing stuff like RuneScape, anything that basically burned time. And then over time, I was like, okay, I kind of just want to like cheat in the game for fun. But this one, it was like a special like custom server that I was on that other people were cheating and they were doing really well with selling cheats to others, basically. Just like sort of like a black market where people would have like bypasses for some things and they would sell like cheats to others. And it wasn't really more so the cheats that I was interested in. It was more of how these people came together to do it. It was basically just like everyday people that you'd meet that were developing these like amazing pieces of software that could like bypass huge companies who are dumping millions of dollars, excuse me, into stopping this from happening, yet kids can just come in and like bypass it for like $5. So I started like looking into development, specifically C++. It definitely wasn't the easiest to start with. It was like honestly hell at first, and I was like in tutorial hell for like about 6 months. And what that eventually snowballed into was sort of a customer service position for like working with software in general. So I started working with a little bit of development there. It wasn't really super serious yet because I hadn't really got into it. And then over time, just like as my hobby, I started finding more and more communities where people were willing to like support me for developing. There was one project that I worked on in the past I do have an NDA for, so I still can't really disclose that, but they were definitely the biggest foothold into getting me where I am today. Currently, what I do now is not quite development for my first full-time job, but I work at Klaviyo as a product expert. And basically what that is helping out businesses, not just with like their marketing campaigns, but a lot of back-end stuff too, specifically with custom integrations, APIs, just to name a few.
Yeah, that's awesome. And guys, I was telling Matthias, he's about to be full time Web3, as he continues to cook because this man is absolutely lighting it up in the IC ecosystem. And now let's talk about, of course, I can't really like speak to this or anything because I'm not a developer, so probably a lot of what you're going to say I may not understand, but I think for this, since you're a developer, you could speak on this and everything really well. Like how is it developing on the internet computer and building on the internet computer, and why should devs build on IC?
Yeah, I'd say number one reason is definitely, actually not number three, number one. Let's call it three reasons. One is the cost. It's extremely cheap. And also it's not really owned by like anyone centralized. That's kind of 2 points in one. I cheated there, but you wouldn't have to go to like Linode to deploy like your backend, for instance. You can deploy everything in one place, fully decentralized for basically peanuts. And on top of that, you don't really need to learn like a singular language. You don't need to go in and learn Solidity, for instance, although now I know Ethereum does support other languages. However, specifically like with the internet computer, you don't need to only learn Motoko. I actually see a lot more often than not that people are using stuff like Rust and JavaScript to build their full stack development on the internet computer, which I really think is amazing and is a huge barrier to entry for a lot of people who want to develop on Web3. A lot of people don't really understand it. A lot of people, they want to jump in, but they don't quite understand blockchain technology, or they don't understand smart contracts or how any of that works. But with the internet computer, it acts a little bit more like Web 2, so you can kind of just go in and work with what you're familiar with.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I'm pretty sure it's like, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like 80% of developers are Java developers. Am I wrong? Am I right? Something like that?
Uh, Probably somewhere around that ballpark. I think it's more like the devices, but I'm not too sure about that.
Okay. Yeah, and in my Telegram, that has become extremely popular in the community. It's probably, it's the most active, group chat in all of ICP. I see devs rolling through all the time. And if you're a developer watching this, or you're interested in the internet computer, just start building, dude. When you talk about upside in an ecosystem and getting market share, this is the place to be. If you go to Avalanche, if you go to Salana, if you go to Ethereum, no offense, my boy, but unless you got like some crazy influencers on your team, nobody's probably gonna give a shit about what you build unless you're like the next Mark Zuckerberg, which you're probably not. So you should come to the IC because there is a lot of opportunity to build here, and if you build something cool here, you'll get a lot of shine. You'll get the attention you deserve. And as the prices of the internet computer continues to go up, and people from Solana and Ethereum and Avalanche, they rotate over to this ecosystem, you can, do very well for yourself and also create super cool tools that can actually change people's lives. I think, there's a ton of opportunity here. The most opportunity, I believe, is in ICP when it comes to development because the ecosystem is so fucking raw, and Solana, Avalanche, Ethereum, there's already, if you think of something, it's probably already there, but in ICP, it may not be there. So there's a ton of opportunity and a lot of cool stuff. But now I want to kind of talk about MCS and how you got the idea of it, and really like, it's crazy. Like, how did you just get the idea of Magic Conch Shell and all this other stuff? Like, how did it all happen?
Yeah, as crazy it might be, I was literally just sitting there looking at like crypto charts, and I saw like all these, like not just like meme coins in general, but I saw like all these tokens, how they sort of there's dog coins, there's cat coins, there's tech coins, for lack of a better term, like let's just say like Uniswap, stuff like that. And I was thinking, what's something that someone's never done before, like for a coin? And it kind of like literally like flashed in my brain. I was like, it's the Magic Conch Shell, of course. So I literally like shot out of bed and I just started like basically like building on my computer. I was like, I need the logo, I need to like set up like the white paper, like I have it like in an instant basically washed over me because I remembered that episode of Club SpongeBob. That's kind of the train of thought that got to me. The part where they're about to like escape the kelp forest, and then that guy comes in with the machete and he cuts down all the vines. And then like Squidward, he's like super happy to get out of there. And then the guy like reveals that he's like part of the Magic Conch Club as well. And I was like, this is like perfect, like in every single way. Even if other people don't love it, like I just love the idea in the moment that I was like, this is like this is it right here.
Yeah, and I think it's super relatable because I feel like, millennials and like Gen Z, well, so yeah, some of the Gen Z now, but I'm Gen Z, and like millennials in general, I think we all grew up kind of on SpongeBob and like shit like that. And it's like kind of like, it's like a funny throwback to, our childhoods and stuff. And, I think it's like really cool, because everyone loves fucking SpongeBob. Who doesn't love SpongeBob? But now let's talk about, I guess the fact that, MCS is not just, of course the brand is amazing. Like the marketing's really good. It's like, it's not boring. It's lovely. It's MCS. It's cool. But let's talk about, it's what you're actually building, what you've just built, and like, the deving.
Yeah, of course. So if you're following us on Twitter, you probably saw that we released MCSM recently. If you're unfamiliar, that's basically a token minter for our token standard MCSC1. Not to make it too complicated, it's basically a token that's fully immutable. So once it's minted at launch, basically no one's able to touch it or modify it in any way. What we'd like to build, though, more on the project is more around that theme, specifically with MCS Scan and integrating MCSM, into that. Is to focus on token immutability, project immutability, and trustlessness in the ICP ecosystem as a whole. And how we plan to achieve that, number one, of course, with MCSM, the tokens are black holed to prevent tampering with the canister itself. But we'd like to take it a step further and explore options such as liquidity locks at launch to prevent any possibility or extra verification required to figure out if someone's liquidity is locked. You would just need to know, hey, if it came from this platform, there's like no chance of a rug pull happening with it. And that kind of ties into MCS Scan as well. Our original vision for it was to provide an easy to access block explorer and price feed tool where anyone with minimal to no experience can come in and view if a token has a black hole canister, if the liquidity is locked, and can just get an at-a-glance look as well of the top 100 holders to see exactly where they stand and, give them extra information on their investments.
Hell yeah, dude. And for the, I think most of the audience probably knows kind of what you said and what you talked about, but could you just talk about a little bit I think you kind of talked about it right here, but just go over briefly and, you can talk about it maybe in a way that's sort of understandable, I guess, for like people, but go over what a black hole canister is and why does black hole canister matter?
Yeah, so a black hole canister, the way I like to describe it is comparing it to a black hole address on Ethereum. And basically, that's just a crypto address that isn't owned by anyone and it's completely untouchable. And a lot of times project creators, what they'll do, not just on ICP, but in crypto in general, they might send their tokens to this burn address so as to show other people that these tokens, they're lost forever and they can't be touched again. On ICP, they take this to another level where you can renounce ownership. For instance, let's just say I minted a token and my wallet's in control of it. I can renounce my ownership to a black hole canister, or renounce ownership of all controllers at all, and accomplish the same thing, however, with the smart contract as a whole. So rather than removing tokens from a supply, it makes the entire contract fully immutable and untouchable by anyone. And why that can be beneficial, and why you might be interested in investing in a project that does have black hole canisters, is on ICP, especially if you're not really initiated the ecosystem or you're not really sure what to look out for. When you interact with the canister, you should always make sure you know what that canister is doing. And if there's a malicious actor, for instance, if you were to go like on this is on Ethereum too, if you were to go on another DApp, for instance, and they could potentially steal your tokens or drain your wallet, or many things like that. And yeah.
Yeah, man, that sounds awesome. And, one of the things that I think, I talked about in my chat last time with the founder and dev of Windoge, Mr. Shill Gates, is the fact that, the inspiration for this whole, token standard and everything was the fact that people were online on Twitter complaining about rug pulls. Now, the reality is, guys, I'm not sure how, some of you guys watching this, how deep you are into crypto, and the ICP ecosystems kind of knew this, but rug pulls in crypto are inevitable, whether it's intentional or unintentional. So they're inevitable. We have seen rug pulls in ICP, but this, token standard was created to, kind of eliminate the rug pull and be able to produce good projects. And, for you guys out there who are complaining, because there's been some complaining in the ICP ecosystem recently, from a small but very vocal crowd that, people launching tokens is super bad and super unhealthy. This is what crypto really looks like. If you take a look at Binance Smart Chain, Ethereum, Salana, Avalanche, the reality is what's driving the volume is people just kind of making these shitcoin meme coins and, letting them run. And, of course, they're doing a good job marketing, which is why they're getting a lot of volume. But as more people come into ICP, expect, more degen coming up. But, the point of the MCS token standard is to, facilitate, and hopefully have, good projects that are coming out with the token standard. So that's kind of the whole point of it. And like for you guys watching this, like, don't sit around and if you see something in the ecosystem you don't like or you disagree with or something, don't sit around and bitch about it on Twitter. Actually try and do something about it. Because you just talking shit on Twitter does nothing. Start deving, start doing something, and try to, if you have a vision and you have something you want to change, go and do it. We saw a problem, which was rug pulls, so now we created this new token standard. Well, Matthias did, and we're going to be solving, hopefully solving that problem and everything, and doing the best job we can to help facilitate good launches. Because at the end of the day, people coming into the ecosystem and launching tokens is inevitable. So you might as well try to make the best situation out of it as possible. Which, Matthias, if you could, do you have any comments on what I just said?
Yeah, no, I think it's really important. Of course, with any investment in general, you should always do your own research. We just like to sort of break down the barrier of, more the barrier to entry when it comes to doing your own research, especially when it comes to coming into a new blockchain, especially with the bull run. There's going to be a lot of new people coming into crypto in general, and that means a lot more new people coming into ICP. And we want to sort of make it harder for malicious people to come in and be able to have their way with people's liquidity, people's money, just so they can make out with the quick amount of money.
Yeah, man. I fucking love it and everything's going on. But now let's kind of pivot back to talking about the ICP in general. What is your kind of outlook on ICP, not necessarily price-wise? You can talk about the price if you want, but what is your outlook on where do you think this ecosystem is going in the next, year for this bull market? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's extremely underrated where it sits now, especially compared to other competing chains that don't even really have the same technology, or they're slower, they have less compatibility. And I think a big factor of that is the chain key cryptography technology that ICP has. Specifically CK Bitcoin, CK Ethereum, CK Solana, CK ERC20, basically any token that can support keychain technology can be hosted on the ICP ecosystem without any bridges, anything like that. And by principle, with ICP having no gas fees and extremely low fees, like 0.0 to the 10, like zeros, probably not, but a very low fee. When other coins exist out there, like Ethereum, where you have to spend sometimes like $20, $30 of gas just to execute a swap, I think it's sort of inexcusable, and I find that just ICP being here by principle and building on top of the technology that already exists and then building technology on top of that, I think it's really a no-brainer in my mind that at some point, if it isn't already, that ICP will become a big player in the crypto ecosystem simply by uniting other tokens in ways that I'm not seeing other projects do.
Yeah, I'm completely on board with that. I think ICP can reach top 10 this cycle. I think it's possible. May or may not happen. Of course, we don't know what's going to happen, but I think it can reach top 10. I 100% think it has the potential. Just like, obviously I don't completely understand it, but, it has, it's alien tech, bro. You know what I'm saying? It can do things that other chains cannot do, and that's like a big difference. A lot of these projects, they have great volume because they have a lot of influencers and stuff, but I think when people start to realize that the ICP tech is legitimate superior, and the marketing kind of comes our way and the KOLs start to come our way, which I'm telling you guys, a lot of you guys are in my Telegram, I keep saying this, but eventually I think some point in the cycle we're going to see CT, crypto Twitter, all the the mainstream guys, blah blah blah. I think they're all going to jump into ICP. Maybe because it's a fucking meme and because the chart's going to look like ha ha ha. Look, because everyone thought it was dead when it was at $3, and now it's probably going to do really well and everything, and they're going to love it. But I think there's going to be a big rotation into ICP at some point this cycle. I don't think it's coming anytime soon. But I'm saying at some point this bull market, I think we're going to see everybody kind of just like meme their way into ICP and everything. Which also I kind of want to talk about. Which is why projects like MCS are so important. I don't think people understand how important it is to have projects that have good marketing and good brands. Obviously MCS isn't, just, it's not like a meme coin, but it's kind of a hybrid where it has a great brand and has, great tech and good tech coming out behind it. But we need projects that have great marketing. Like, nobody wants to invest in boring shit. You look at the biggest runners from every single ecosystem. I keep fucking saying it in every goddamn video. So if you're watching this for the 100th time, you're like, I'm sorry, but I have to say this every single time. But if you look at the biggest winners on Ethereum, on Salana, on Avalanche, on Near Protocol, it's literally all, fucking meme coins. And coins with good brands, at least. Like, guys, don't, underestimate. People aren't just gonna, if you have amazing tech, people aren't just gonna run to it when they could fucking do some other shit. You gotta have on point marketing and a good solid brand, which is why part of the reason why I love MCS so much, because it's fusing those two worlds of great development and great marketing, which is awesome. But now I kind of want to talk about, back to the developer talk. On your Twitter, after the release of the DApp, you announced that a second tool is coming out and it's going to be helping developers. So speak on that a little bit.
Yeah, of course. So that's called a Motoko Console. And the whole idea behind that, actually why we built it in the first place, was to help us break down how different token standards worked in the upcoming MCSM launch, or actually, prior to it, when we were doing our initial research during that stage. And as we started working on the project and working with Motoko Conshell to, it started as an original, an inside joke. That's like kind of why we went with like the whole Magic Conshell theme for the AI, because it's like, you're asking the Conshell about your development problems. And over time, as we gave it more training data and we started experimenting with different training sets, different prompts, stuff like that, we started to realize really quick, wow, this is a lot more powerful than we thought. And eventually it started becoming my go-to tool whenever I'm stumped, where if I get an error that I'm not really sure where it's coming from, or if there's something I'm not really understanding and there's not much extensive documentation on it on the ICP, like developer docs, for instance, or just on the internet, I quickly found that it got really good really quick at analyzing existing code in the past and also new training data such as like CK Bitcoin, as well as having access to the internet. It's become like my number one tool basically for development at this point. And for a little bit I debated. I was like, do I keep this to myself or do I, release this to the public? And I went on for a little bit thinking about that. And I'm sort of at the point where I'm thinking it would just be better for everyone else to have the tool that I've basically been using for these past couple of months because it's been extremely helpful. Specifically asking things about like token standards, how like keychain technology works, other things like that. I'm not even really sure like what it's fully capable of doing, but it can be pretty amazing when you push it to your limit. You can make it code like full stack dApps for you, including back end, front end. Take that with a bit of a grain of salt. It won't do everything fully, but it can lay out frameworks. It can help you solve problems even in your existing code if you give it enough context without any prior background information.
That's awesome because I think, there's definitely a need for something like that. As we know, AI is now playing a huge role in development and everything. And really just by just giving people the tools to dev better, dev quicker, and, improve just like the educational process for devs. That's fucking awesome. And I think, this is going to play a huge role in the IC. I think when devs come through, having this tool available for them is going to absolutely change the game. And it's kind of crazy because Matthias literally like, he had, he was thinking about just gatekeeping it because it's just too fucking good. But he's, kind of just giving it up to the community and everything to let you guys cook, which is awesome. So if you're a developer, stay, on the lookout for that. Or if you're somebody who's interested in learning how to code or whatever, like just stay on the lookout for, the tool and everything because it's definitely going to be a big game changer and everything. Because one of my personal goals, and this has nothing to fucking do with making money or anything like that, but I just want to, through my Telegram, onboard as many, or in my Twitter or anything, but it's normally through my Telegram, onboard as many devs as possible to the internet computer so people can actually make, cool shit and everything, which is really, really awesome. And now I want to talk about a little bit about, your thesis on what ICP could look like in the next 10 years. Of course, this is like fucking crazy because we don't know what the hell is going to happen. But like, where do you think this could possibly go? What do you think the full potential of the internet computer is?
Yeah, I think by principle, let's just say in a scope of 10 years, by then, the previous decade of like all tokens in general, I think will definitely be solidified as successful or not as like original like founding tokens. And I think ICP having that advantage of being above most other tokens in terms of technology, like it's like neck and neck with Salana, and it's basically a fraction of the price. I've thought about that actually, specifically with like 8-year neurons. Like, where would we be? Like, where will I be when this neuron unlocks? And definitely the future I see for it, if anything, is as the Bitfinity Foundation and just developers in general build on top of the ICP network. I see it being probably, I'm not sure how this can quantify things, but at least twice as good as it is now. I took a journey back like a couple of weeks ago looking at like what the internet computer looked like at launch. And seeing updates such as Canisters can now directly move ICP tokens around. And I was like, wow, like that was like groundbreaking then. And now we're talking about Bitcoin integration now. I think it's honestly kind of hard to tell what we'll see coming soon with the power and the current stage of development we have now. But I am excited.
Yeah. And for the newbies out there, if you could give your just in case anybody, I feel like everyone who's watching at the 28-minute mark or 30-minute mark or whatever is probably deep into ICP. But, you know, if you're not, and this is your first time learning about the internet computer, Matthias, what would your elevator pitch be for ICP? Why ICP, and like how is it different? I guess I wouldn't make an elevator pitch then, but like why ICP, and then how is it different from Salana, Avalanche? Like what actually, you know, makes it different? I don't know.
Yeah, I'd say the revert. That's not the best way to start it. I was gonna say definitely the canisters and how everything's laid out. I absolutely love the 100% on-chain focus of the internet computer, and specifically the free-to-use model that you wouldn't need to pay gas to interact with these canisters. Doesn't matter who you are, what you're doing, if there's something that brings you value on the internet computer, there's no reason for you to not be able to access it and go there. So that means anything that brings value to the world that's hosted on the internet computer means it will be the go-to place for you to go on the internet computer to access those resources. Especially what we were talking about with the previous question, where we are in like 10 years from now, for instance. Especially with some controversy in like recent years with like social media privacy laws in general, technology privacy, whatever you want to call it. And also the ICP's focus on completely trackless, that's not really the right word, complete fingerprinting free internet identity being able to be used on what are essentially Web 2 dApps is like the reason why you should be on the internet computer.
Cool. That's very awesome. Now I kind of want to talk about ICP DeFi for a little bit, because as great as the internet computer is, we know that the DeFi sector right now fucking sucks. And DeFi is one of the biggest, you know, sectors in crypto. It is the biggest sector, and it has a stronghold on, because people love to make money, and that's where all the degen trading and shit happens. Now we know that currently there's ICP Swap, there's IC Lighthouse, and there's Sonic V2. But what's coming out is Bitfinity, which is a blockchain built on the internet computer, which is a Bitcoin L2 that's EVM compatible, and Sonic V3, which will be built on Bitfinity, which is awesome. But I would like to hear your opinion on, you know, Bitfinity first. We'll start with Bitfinity.
Yeah, so I really like what they're doing, first of all, especially with the EVM. I feel like them taking the step out to actually develop on a technology that basically no one's really developing on the moment is really formidable, and I think it definitely gives them a huge advantage in this market just by sheer principle. Like the Ethereum virtual machine being hosted, like not hosted on Bitfinity, excuse me, them using the Ethereum virtual machine, excuse me, is basically the first gateway into CK Ethereum becoming a major and widely accepted part of the internet computer. And them spearheading that, especially on a DeFi exchange, is unbelievably huge. We just don't really know it yet, or at least it's not widely acknowledged. At least I think it is, because Ethereum obviously is, like, honestly, at this point, probably just as famous as Bitcoin if people don't really realize it yet. So just having two of the biggest, yeah, a little bit. So, I mean, you know, depends on who you ask. But if you've definitely heard of Ethereum, or at least have seen it in some way before. So having not just one, but two of the biggest on-chain and also being the first is just incredible to me.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying. With CK technology, it's fucking awesome, but no one's using it right now. So like the first projects to put it to use are going to get a lot of shine because the tech is there, just nobody's fucking using it like that right now. So I think the first projects that are actually able to use chain key technology in their project and put it to work, man, that shit's going to fucking snap because people are going to be all over that. Somebody needs to put this shit to work. You know, it's really cool stuff. And also to touch on your thing, talking about Ethereum being so popular, this is like kind of like, I guess, a little off topic. From what I've seen with like, because guys, everyone who's fucking, you know, follows me on Twitter or anything or whatever, we're all in this crypto bubble where we're talking to crypto people all day, and you know, we're not talking to normal people or whatever. But you know, when I'm out talking to normal people who are outside of, you know, the crypto ecosystem and everything, They still, like, unironically, it's basically what they taught. They only know Bitcoin and Dogecoin. That's normally it. That's no, like, basically it. Ethereum is on the come up. I personally am not that big a fan of Ethereum because gas fees fucking suck. Um, and that's I'm bearish Ethereum. Of course, it's the big daddy first, smart contract platform. It has all the liquidity, so it's gonna be here. Larry Fink's about to pump that shit to the moon, so it's probably not gonna go anywhere, no matter how shitty the tech is or whatever, because Wall Street's gonna be backing it. So, but yeah, just a little tangent about that. But now let's talk a little bit about, I guess, CK. So what out of CK BTC, CK Ethereum, CK Solana, the CK ERC20 tokens, what are you most bullish on out of all those?
Definitely, it's a tie between Ethereum and Solana. Solana, I feel like, has had a huge come up recently, especially with their altcoin market DeFi. Their liquidity has just been going crazy as of recently. But at the same time, I think since Ethereum is just so well founded and has its footing so firmly in place in the crypto community, I think if CK Ether slightly wins out on this one. Most excited for, because with CK Ether, you also get the ERC20 coins that come along with it. And that in and of itself, I've probably said gas fee like 200 times is my point, but really it is super important to be able to have another platform other than Ethereum where you have to wait sometimes like 10 minutes for your swap to go through, and sometimes it can fail because you didn't pay enough gas, because now the gas price is like 25% more, and it's just such a frustrating process that just having the same platform but better on this blockchain is just like unbelievable.
Yeah. That's fucking awesome. And yeah, Solana ecosystem. I bought a ton of Solana at like $19. I sold my whole position at like $100, so rotated into the ICP ecosystem. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Solana. As much as people want to shit on it or whatever, it has the liquidity, has the attention, and they are working on the tech. People are building really dope shit over there. Solana's not going away. It's not going anywhere. They have so much liquidity. It's on the come up. It's, cheaper than Ethereum. It's faster than Ethereum. I'm a big fan of Solana. I like it a lot. And I think CK Sol is going to bring in, if done correctly and if people can actually utilize it, should bring in a ton of liquidity and everything. But now let's kind of talk about, let's talk a little bit about the future of MCS and what plans you have.
Yeah, of course. So when it comes to MCS Scan and MCSM, and of course Matoka Concho, I'd like to be a place in the future where ideally to have most of these dApps, if not all of them, sort of integrated into one platform. I think it's really important that we stick true to original project values with not just bringing awareness to like crypto in general, but token immutability, liquidity locks, how to make safe investments, and also providing resources to people through the form of dApps, or utility dApps would be a better word here. So for like our end goal, I'd like to be like a project that people recognize, where people, when they look at MCS or they see, for instance, a token minted from MCS, it has that association with it, that there's like a liquidity lock in the pool, the Canisters immutable. It's generally a token that was created with the best practices in mind for investor safety. And that's sort of the company isn't the right word to use here, but that's sort of the image we have for everything.
That's fucking awesome. And guys, if you made it this far in the show, the podcast, whatever the fuck you want to call this, do not fade this guy right here. He's an absolute killer. He's I put out a tweet before this saying I'm about to interview arguably the most underrated dev in ICP right now. Not for long though, because this guy is going to put in work, and he's absolutely cooking. Like, there's no stopping him. He's just, fucking grinding it out and everything, and he knows exactly what he's doing. He's doing an amazing job. Would not fade Matthias. He's done a great job. But I think I think we've hit, a lot of stuff about ICP. We talked about MCS and everything. I kind of want to wrap it up now. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, I'd say I'm really looking forward to the upcoming AI adapt. I think that's something that I haven't really touched on in the past. I haven't really showed much about other than that teaser I threw up on Twitter. But everyone should really be looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to not just like people learning to code Motoko in general. I'm looking forward to hearing from people who've developed with it, how it works for them, and even making it better than it is now, because I really think it'll be a huge tool for everyone to utilize.
Yeah, I think it's super, super sick what you're doing. There's a ton of stuff in the pipeline, guys. MCS is cooking, but unfortunately, we got to end this at some point. I feel like we had a great conversation. But before we get off this, where do we find everything MCS, Matthias? Where do the people go?
Yeah, so you can find us on mcs.wtf, or you can find us on Twitter at MCS_ICP.
Let's fucking go. I'm super bullish on MCS. This guy is a goated dev. He's, my opinion, he's part of he's going to be first team all ICP by the time this fucking bull market's over. I don't think a lot of you guys understand what Matthias got in the pipeline. This man is absolutely cooking. But that's all I got for today's video. If you enjoyed this interview, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, follow me, whatever platform you're on, just follow me, like it, leave a comment, let me know what you think. We're going to be doing a lot of cool stuff over here and everything. And yeah, thank you for watching.